Hey there, I'm LioConvoy and welcome to the channel if you've never been here before. This video comes to you from the support of my patrons and channel members. If you want to support me, the link's in the description. You're also welcome to join my community Discord. If you didn't know, I'm a lifetime toy collector. In the past, toy collecting has been fairly cathartic. Getting a physical representation of a character you like has a certain joy to it that it's hard to articulate, regardless of what kind of collector you are. However, things have been getting difficult. At least in the past 10 years. At first, it was primarily due to awful distribution when it came to local stores and American brands. But now there's another issue on top of that. The price is rising to an absurd degree. Now, I know someone is going to blame inflation, and maybe one day we'll break that down. But it's obviously not just that. No small bit of it comes from predatory business. Something some alleged professionals seem to be okay with, despite being collectors themselves, it seems.
To a Hasbro Pulse or a Matty Collector or whatever it is, or a Mattel Creations membership to have access. That right there is predatory, in my opinion. In his opinion, it's a great thing. My opinion, it's predatory.
I'm not saying it's predatory. What I'm saying is...
So you're not saying it's not predatory. You're agreeing it's predatory.
Well, from a certain point of view.
So, and you're cool with that?
Of course I'm cool with that.
Wow.
Couldn't be me. Anyways, this isn't regulated to just American-based companies either. In fact, as you've seen with the thumbnail, the company we'll be using to demonstrate this is an import brand. That brand being S.H.Figuarts. Now, I'm no stranger to the Figuarts lines. I've been collecting them for over a decade now. Something you may have seen both in the Sailor Moon September shorts as well as the ongoing December. And believe me, I ran out of days in the month for the Dragon Ball stuff. I have much more than that. And my wallet suffers for it. I'm not going to decry or downplay the quality of the figures they produce for the most part. That's fine. The issue is the constantly rising prices, and more importantly, the predatory way they get you into these lines. For instance, let's look at their Demon Slayer line, or Kimetsu no Yaiba if you're some weeb. It'll highlight my point here, I think. Let's start with their Tanjiro figure. A great figure, and retailing at only $35. An excellent start to this line, and a fantastic value, having a total of 15 different accessories. I can't think of any other domestic brand or foreign that can match that value for money save Action Force. This figure of the lead character is of course where people should start when collecting this line. The next character released though is where the issue is shown. This is Nezuko. Yes, she's adorable, I know. But let's look at what she comes with. A total of 13 parts, including her secondary lower half that lets her sit. Now, you can see that she has, about 2 parts less than her brother. But let's just assume that lower half ate the cost. One would think these, being somewhat equal, would be of similar price. Well, you'd be wrong. Most places are selling her for twice that. Even at its cheapest, it's almost twice the price. But what's justifying this? Is it the tooling? No, that can't be it, because the Tanjiro figure was also new tooling as well. How about material costs? Let's try this the easiest way possible, by weighing the items. Tanjiro, with all of his parts, weighs in at 2.8 ounces. Time for Nezuko. I know it's not polite to ask a woman her weight, but this is kinda needed. Sorry, Nezuko. She weighs in at 3.3 ounces. 0.5 ounces more than Tanjiro. Does that justify the absurd jump in price? I don't think so, honestly. This isn't inherently because she's the female lead specifically either. It's not just them trying to milk the weebs for a plastic figure of a cute girl. You'll see that isn't the case a bit later, but it's still important to point out. How is this predatory, though? Well, it preys upon the completionist nature of collectors. I'm aware that plenty of companies do this, but at least then is using a figure of the same price point. Marvel Legends are a good example of this. For their Build-A-Wave figures specifically, they usually put a torso in with a character they know fewer people will care for. But again, that's at least at the same price as their wave mates. This is not that. If you get Tanjiro, of course you're going to want Nezuko. This is only pushed further by the fact that she comes with a hand-holding part for the both of them. It's adorable and only pushes that more, but the price is really just ridiculous. Not even taking into account the secondary lower half that could have just been ignored by going for cloth goods. When upgrade kits are shown by other channels that give her this, it only further highlights this. That's not the only example of this I have though. I've got others. For this one, we're stepping into Dragon Ball. To begin, let's look at the newly released Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Vegeta, Unwavering Saiyan Pride. He comes with 14 accessories. The Prince of all foreheads here weighs in at 2.5 ounces with all those accessories. This guy, of course, is $35. But what was also released at this time? Or rather, re-released. Ultra Instinct Son Goku. He comes with 13 accessories total. I could say it's more, but I don't think counting all the parts for the key ball you're supposed to assemble will be all that accurate. He weighs in at 3 ounces even. Sorry Nezuko, but Goku weighs less than you as a whole. And what's his price? Around 60 generally. To be fair, some other sites had him for a more reasonable price, around $45. But what here is worth an extra $10 at best? This isn't even some sort of special edition. I'm not seeing any justification for this price hike. But let's assume you're not convinced. 2 examples just aren't enough. I get it. I'm skeptical by nature, and I'd need that myself. So how about a third? For this example, we'll use the Figuarts Monkey D. Luffy, the Romance Dawn version. Now, I'm not a One Piece fan, but I'm familiar with at least the main crew. Like the previous examples, this Luffy is also at retail for $35. He sports 15 parts and weighs in at 2 ounces. Time to compare that to the next in the wave. This is Nami, the treasure-obsessed thief of the crew. She comes with 16 parts, meaning she has 1 piece, more than Luffy. She weighs in at 1.7 ounces. Even the treasure chest she comes with doesn't add that much since it's mostly hollow. It also may just be compensating for something since this is pre-time skip, but that's just me. How much does she run? $70 at US retail. 70. To be clear, she's 50 on some sites, but either way, there's no reason for her to be more expensive than Luffy. At least not when you look at it rationally. This isn't just something for a main cast of these shows either. Picking up Giyu from the Figuarts Demon Slayer run also runs you about $65. Same issue, wash, rinse, and repeat. And before some random doofus comes in here and tries to play defense for these ridiculous prices, I had an actual expert looking at this part of the script that goes over the prices, weights, and part counts. That expert being Bobby Vala. The man's been making toys for years now and even owns his own toy company. The man knows his stuff, all the way down to plastic durometer. When I asked him if I was missing something here, he said there's some minor things in regard to deco and tooling, but not enough to justify that heavy of a markup. So if inflation isn't the issue, nor is there some magic reason I would miss due to not being a toy maker, well, to get there, I need to have a serious talk here. I'd imagine if you're watching this video, you're probably a toy collector yourself. So no, I'm not coming at this from a place of attack or insult. I'm one of you. I get it. Why do you collect? Is it because you're trying to recapture a childhood feeling? Is it because you just really like the properties represented? Could be a myriad of reasons. But one thing we need to be aware of is the addictive nature of this hobby. And make no mistake, anything can be addictive. And all companies rely on this on one way or another, from movies to fast food. It's more about how far they take it that determines when a stopping point shows up. It's best to ultimately just collect what you like. While I get the completionist mindset, sometimes the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Especially when the companies are being blatantly predatory about this. What Figuarts is doing with this line is a variation of what a hard drugs drug dealer will do. Make the price of entry low, and then raise it quickly once you're hooked. I'm sure there's probably other companies that do this, but Figuarts is the one I first noticed being so blatant about it. What makes it more insulting, in my opinion, is that they do this while knowing there's other options out there for customers for these characters. At least for Demon Slayer. Let's take a look at the Buzzmod line. It's the same scale, has nearly if not more than the same amount of accessories, and has more versatility in how you can display and pose the figures due to the cloth goods and effect parts. Yes, they're more expensive, but this is a much smaller company than the ridiculous juggernaut that is Figuarts. And more importantly, their pricing is consistent, around 130 each. But not only is what you get quality, but what you see is what you get. You're not going to have a price jump around 50% just because. But what if there isn't an alternative line though? Well, you just got to use some older tools. Vote with your wallet. Be vocal about it on social media. Heck, send critical emails. Once a company realizes you're not willing to pay a ridiculous amount they came up with out of sheer greed, they'll have to either drop that price to be reasonable going forward, or they'll drop the license and go elsewhere. I know restraint in this hobby is difficult. I get it. I struggle with it sometimes too. But we can't let these companies continue to take advantage of us like this. As I said near the beginning of the video, I love the Figuarts products, but going forward I'm going to have to be more selective about what I buy from them. I can't be part of the problem here either. If you think you absolutely have to own these figures, here's what you do. Wait for a sale, or buy it on the aftermarket at a lower price. Yeah, you wouldn't get it immediately on release, but you'll get it all the same. And it'll send the same message via the retailers that the stuff doesn't move until it's discounted. Just some options I can think of. If you have others that I haven't considered, feel free to let people know in the comments. I don't hate Figuarts. If anything, I love the company's products. But enabling their predatory business practices isn't going to help anyone in the long run. I don't know. These are just my thoughts. How do you all feel about it though? Let me know in the comments. I think you've heard me ramble on enough for this, so that's it for now. Take care.